Hi, I am a retired school teacher, and I love your program, watch you all the time, and I think of, I know you're a brilliant journalist, but what comes to my mind when I hear you and know you're going to be, watch your segment, is that I called you in my mind the examiner, because you just don't ask a question and get a reply. You always go a little bit more in depth, and I always appreciate that. So my question to you is, what teacher in your life made the most impact?
Marjorie Wilson. Marjorie Wilson.
Talk about Ms. Wilson.
She's in the book. My journalism teacher at Coronado High School in Lubbock, Texas. She was on fire to teach. If she had been teaching accounting, I'd be a CPA today. It didn't matter what she was teaching. She was on fire to teach, and she was teaching journalism, so she made journalism seem like the most noble, most exciting profession you could possibly be in. And we have all had teachers like that. They are unfortunately a little rare in the universe. Yeah. But Marjorie Wilson was the reason I went into journalism. She's the reason I'm sitting here speaking with you today.
Yeah, we don't talk about those teachers enough. I'm glad you had a chance to do that. That's good.
Thank you for your service to our country, by the way.
Thank you for your service to our country. Teachers are national heroes.
Hi.
Hi. Well, boy, she really teed up my question to you, too, because I also was a student of Marjorie Wilson and worked with her husband, Bill.
Look at that.
And the last time I was in the room with Scott Pelley, I think he was just past puberty.
Probably.
This young kid in the newsroom at the Lubbock Avalanche Journal, and we were wondering, who is this? And then my husband comes home, who works for KEND Radio, The Living End, and he said, yes, Scott spotted there too. I guess I'd just say a lot of your fans here would probably like to know, other than Ms. Wilson, how did you get the gumption at the age you did to just go and hang out at newsrooms, and how did that inspire the rest of your career?
You know, gumption just seemed to be part of the DNA of the Pelley family. I don't know where it comes from, but I was in Marjorie Wilson's journalism class during the day, and through that I learned that the Lubbock Avalanche Journal hired copy boys, gender insensitive today, but that's what they called us, to work the 3 to midnight shift, which was perfect for somebody in high school. Right. But I had a temporal problem. They only hired kids who were 16 and above, and I was 15. So I did what anyone would do. I went in and lied about my age.
Lied about your age. Proud American tradition.
And they hired me. And my mother, my co-conspirator, would drop me off a couple of blocks from the paper so nobody could see that I didn't have a driver's license. And I worked the 3 to midnight shift there as a copy boy. About a year went by, and the executive editor of the paper, a guy named Dave Knapp, always wore a white shirt, had a silver crew cut, kind of Marine Corps bearing. He walks into the wire room where I worked, and I'm working on my high school homework, and he sits down and he says, "Do you want to be a reporter?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I haven't given it any thought." He said, "Well, do you or don't you?" And I said, "Well, sure, I guess." And he walked me out in front of this machine, which some of you will remember. It was called a typewriter. I had no idea how to operate this machine, but I've been a reporter ever since. And that's how it all got launched. But thanks to Marjorie Wilson.
Yeah.
And a lie. My search for the truth began with a lie.
Began right there. I want to set expectations. How long do we have? Can I take these 3? Will you permit? Okay, very well.
It depends on how windy I am.
Go ahead.
Another fellow Texan who has a book out called Becoming the News was her dissertation, where she interviewed people who had been interviewed by the press to get their feedback on how they felt that process treated them.
Really interesting.
I'm just wondering if you've ever had a chance to reflect back on how interviews that you've conducted have gone from the perspective of the person being interviewed. Or I'm sure you've gotten some feedback, plus or minus, over the years.
What is the name of that book?
Becoming the News.
Becoming the News. I'm going to get a hold of this today. That's a fascinating idea.
It's an interesting question. I always think that for those of us who do interviews, the most useful thing is to be interviewed, right? To be on the other side of the table and see how that goes.
Yes.
Do you reflect on whether you come on too strong, or was I fair to this person?
Oh, absolutely.
Self-reflectively.
Very, very much so. Every interview I do. You know, I have discovered over these many years that what people consider to be bias in the media is really bias in the viewing. If I do an interview with the president, any president, we will get tons of emails and mail coming into 60 Minutes. And this one will say, "You dirty Democrat, you know, you tried to get him and you couldn't." And then the next one is, "You dirty Republican, you let him walk and you didn't ask him any hard questions." And then the mail kind of piles up 50-50. So
That's right.
it's very interesting to see how people view the interviews. In terms of the interviewees, I can't think of a time, and this is a fault, I can't think of a time that I ever circled back to somebody and said, "So what do you think about how that went?"
How'd this go? Right?
Yeah, but I'm going to get that book.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
It's worth reading.
Yeah,
Has there been any time, just without going into too much detail, has there ever been a time when you did an interview and walked away and thought, I wasn't fair to that person, or I blew that, I missed that in some way?
Well,
I've certainly had that.
every once in a while, you know, you're brushing your teeth the next morning and you think of the question that you should have asked, right? And that does happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Great, sir.
As a teacher for 34 years, I was glad to hear your comment on your teacher. What did you want to be before she changed your mind?
Did you have
Astronaut.
Astronaut.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a boy growing up in the 1960s. I mean, what boy growing up in the 60s didn't want to be an astronaut,
And in
right?
Texas, right?
And in Texas, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We were going to the moon. We were, the whole country, we were all going to the moon, and so I really wanted to be part of that. And I was in the, I was a finalist in NASA's Journalist in Space program. They were going to, after Kristen McAuliffe, the high school teacher, the next
86, yeah.
passenger was going to be a journalist, but of course after the disaster they canceled the program.
Made the disaster. It's too bad. Well, maybe you can embed with the Space Force, actually.
Well, maybe I can. I'd love to.
Yeah.
I've been a great fan of CBS Morning News and Evening News, and there's been a lot of upheaval lately that I haven't been real happy with, but I just wonders, where is John Dickerson?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, because he's with me.
Oh.
He has just moved into his bright, shiny new office at 60 Minutes. And you're going to be seeing him on 60 Minutes several times this season, but he's now a full-time 60 Minutes correspondent, and we are thrilled to have him.
He's a great guy.
Especially going into an election year because of his deep contacts and great understanding of the American electorate as well.
Thank you.
Good question.
Yeah.
Okay, we've landed the plane safely. Isn't that great? Please give Scott Pelley a big hand. Thank him for being here. Thanks to all of you, and we'll see you.